All right. Hi, I'm Todd Doherty, and I'm here as president of Western Water Partnerships, and I'm gonna actually go off a lot of what Zach Thode talked about. He teed it up nicely for me. So a little bit different take, but just a little background on mine. I have about 15 years experience with the Colorado Water Conservation Board. There's several people here from that agency, and also I manage Boulder Open Spaces agriculture water rights for several years as well. So, but this topic of trying to have water sharing between agriculture and municipalities is a really near and dear idea, and to me, and hopefully it's because I really see it as a solution for Colorado and hopefully the western United States water problems, especially with the demand from the cities. So here's really where Zach kind of hit on, where we, in the Front Range, especially in Colorado, a growing water demand due to the population growth in cities and associated water use. Really, the main point here is the associated decline in irrigated agriculture, because that is where most of the water is going to be coming from, is the dry up of irrigated ag, where cities go out and they buy either the water rights or the water rights and the land, and they pull all 100% of the water into their system. Maybe that land is developed, maybe it's dry land pasture, but it's no longer an active irrigated farm. Lots of issues which I'm not going to go in, but environmental, socially, kind of landscape, there's a problem with that. So this idea of ATMs, or alternative water transfer methods, is really, it takes many different flavors. I'm going to kind of focus on one, but the idea is it's really kind of the Uber or Airbnb of water use in Colorado, where we talked about optimization of this scarce resource. You know, that's kind of, somebody has a car and time, they go out and they drive somebody around. Same with their home with Airbnb. Cities don't always need every bit of water 100% of the time. I'm kind of looking at the farm as being looked at by the cities as a reservoir, where you basically have it available in dry years, and that's what cities typically do. They'll take water in average and wet years, put it into their reservoirs, and then they draw it during the drought years. And there's definitely base supplies, so it's this idea is not something that's a complete panacea, but it's a significant chunk of the water demand in Colorado. So if we can find that dry year supply for the cities, it's going to make at least a very significant point in the city's uses. So I have a real life example that I was fortunate enough to be a part of. This is Larimer County. They came to me wondering how they can preserve this agriculture farm that was on the market. It's a farm around Berthoud. So being Larimer County, which is great here, that some of the Loveland newspapers and a few other papers have written some stories about it. So you might be familiar, but it's around Berthoud, and it had a lot of CBT, Colorado Big Thompson water, which is pretty darn valuable, and it's easily transferred around. And so there's a great opportunity to be able to get a water sharing agreement. And so they had the vision and willingness to jump into something that really hasn't been done before in Colorado. We after many interviews of various municipalities, we were able to get Broomfield to be able to get into an agreement, and so we've negotiated with them. It's been recently approved by the various boards, so Larimer County, Broomfield, and then Northern Water also had to have an approval. So we got that done recently, and it's going to be closing on Wednesday of next week. So it's going to be the state's first perpetual ag municipal water sharing agreement in Colorado. So hopefully we're going to be able to scale that up into other projects. So very thrilled. I mean, part of this is basically what now the ag producer for this particular project, the two sisters that had the farm were selling it. so it's really Larimer County being the ag producer, although there is a tenant farmer who will continue farming. But the local government, in this case Larimer County, came together with the water provider, and they're able to get what they want for a lot cheaper. So Broomfield is able to get their water for a lot cheaper than they would, and Larimer County is able to get a farm preserved, and it's going to continue to be irrigated except in various years, and they're able to preserve that for a lot less. And there's going to be, when Broomfield takes the water, there'll be a dry year payment, so hopefully that'll go to the farmer as well to help offset the cost. So, and Larimer County gets an upfront payment, so the check will be delivered on Wednesday, so that'll help offset the cost to them, and they're able to use that money and be able to go and protect more farmland and open space in the county. And bringing in other funders. So this project was helped out by the Colorado Water Conservation Board with a grant which helped pay consultant fees, which we also have a water engineer, attorney, agronomist, ag economists that are part of the team. And so it's really all about different people coming together. We have some foundations that have played a role. And so this is, it's a lot more complicated than just the traditional city going out, buying a farm, writing a check, and putting the water into their portfolio. So that's why all these partners make it happen, but it's a lot more complicated. And we have an agreement with all these various terms when they can take the water and such, so that makes it more complicated as well. So I have really two asks for this particular session, which is right now we're kind of in very conceptual stages, but thinking about a fund that would be available for acquisitions and for due diligence and such, because for these ATM projects, we were fortunate where Larimer County had the resources. They did actually have to borrow from another department to get the money, but they were able to scrounge up the money and do it. But if there's partners who want to make these things happen, but there's not the money available readily, the farmer may want to sell and need that money in a short time frame. In this particular case, there was a backup offer by a developer, and it would have been, fortunately, we were able to get it. So if there's any investors or people who know investors who are maybe interested in talking to me about this would be, I'd be welcome. Again, it's very conceptual and working with other folks as well, but trying to start to sketch out and scope out that idea of an ATM fund. And also spread the word. We're trying to fill the pipeline. I have a couple other projects actually in this neighborhood. Some of the farms they've read these articles, they're interested, and so there might be a much bigger project with this, and there's some other projects that are in the works, but really this is all very new stuff, and so I don't necessarily have the pulse of every landowner out there. I'm working with the land conservation community who has a pretty good idea of the landowners and interest, but if you know anybody who's interested, please send them my way, and we can see if there's a potential future projects. So with that, I'll take some questions.